Hi everybody, it's Galactic Man Larry here again, and today we have in front of us from Star Wars the Vintage Collection, from Star Wars The Empire Strikes Back. Boba Fett Vintage Comic Art is one of those two figures that were announced a couple of months ago, and I just received this one yesterday or something like that. The thing is, I've had it sitting there at the side of the desk, and I was like, oh, I'm gonna keep it there in card and whatever. But I'm tempted to open it because I really like the paint application of the helmet, and of course the colors are extreme. I mean, this is like, well, like an old comic book, you know. But I think I'm just opening this one with you, and yeah, I think I might get a second copy to keep carded, maybe, I don't know. But yeah, let's see that card a bit closer. I mean, you can see there the figure looking good in the bubble here. And now the bounty hunters. This very cool illustration of Boba Fett, Bosk and Dengar there behind him, and all that, you know, they're like in a Star Destroyer, yeah? And here you have a lot of legal stuff, of course, and you have from the, I guess, upcoming wave or recent, partially. I mean, these two ones are not really, have not yet been released, Hunter and this Darth Vader Death Star 2, but this people is out there already. I have this one here in hand. Let's take this guy out of the bubble and see how good he actually is. And there you have him, the vintage comic art Boba Fett from The Empire Strikes Back, out of the packaging, and really, I'm really enjoying this figure. I'm glad I decided to open it. Again, I might get a second one, or I just managed to, you know, to open the blister just from below so that yeah, I can keep this in good shape, you know, as things are getting expensive, and especially all the Boba Fett repaints are super expensive. Yeah, it was like 27 euros here in Germany, I mean in Europe, I guess, and I don't know how much it is in dollars, but yeah, I mean 27 euro for a vintage collection figure, you know, retail price, that's extreme. You can see this guy is like, yeah, I mean that it's super Christmassy, let's say. Today is Easter Sunday, and I'm talking about Christmas. But yeah, I really like having this, like his little cape thingy in this gray color. You can see the jetpack is cast in that like grayish blue with white paint on it. What else? This gun, well, this blaster, I think, is the same as the older version of Boba Fett we had for several years before this mold, you know. Also, I have to check the rifle. This larger blaster. I'll bring that older figure in a second. But yeah, the main, I mean, not the main, I mean, the main thing is like the wonky colors. Yeah, I mean, but I really am enjoying it, actually, because it's, I mean, it's Boba Fett, but it's just like having some other Mandalorian armored character, you know. Yeah, actually, let's get straight into it. Here you have this, the first release of this mold. What a great figure again. This is one I almost break while forcing the diaphragm, but I heated it and whatever, it's there, it's staying like that, like forever. I mean, I won't ever be twisting that diaphragm. I mean, he still has, they never intended, at least so far, they haven't, what I would say, fix those hips or replace them by a T-joint, what I would prefer personally. I'm just, yeah, this kind of like mechanism for the hip is a bit weird to me, but it's how it's been in the vintage collection for the early years and the first years since they restarted the line. But yeah, again, I would prefer all figures to have like the T-joint for the hips, you know. But still, I mean, you just, yeah, just get around it, pose it, but it's just a bit less, it takes a bit more time, in my opinion, more like, yeah, thinking and turning and holding bits while twisting the others. You have the oh god, I forgot, the Mythosaur's logo here on the shoulders, same as with the other figure, but larger and much more noticeable because of the contrast in the colors. The shoulder pads, you can see the armor plates are like in brown, really like chocolate. The bracelets are painted red, the arms are white, the red is paint. The hands are also, I guess, no, I think those are cast in red, whatever. The thing is, and the helmet has a lot of paint. Luckily, my copy is not, I mean, from this way it can look a bit weird, but it's, yeah, the paint is well placed. These lila pouches, anyway, you're seeing it yourself. I think the belt is cast in this overlay, well, this over belt, whatever, is cast in lila with that like red or terracotta paint. And I don't know this bit, I think that's cast in that red with green paint. Yeah, just appreciate it by yourself. Here we have this re-release of the Empire Strikes Back card, the Boba Fett, the older mold, you know, and you can see, actually, yeah, it's the same mold for this blaster, for both. I mean, these are both these weapons. The jetpack, it's another mold, I mean, it's a newer mold, of course. That's the jetpack. Of course, with that huge peg so that it doesn't dance around. This is the larger rifle blaster, whatever, looking good. And here you have the smaller blaster. Now for articulation, this guy can look up that far, down that far. He can tilt to the sides very nicely, has all the expression. I mean, we've done this figure back in the day, but that video is so old. These guys from the vintage collection, they managed to do such good double ball pegs for the necks. And I don't know how they, I mean, the other people don't manage to do the same for the larger scales, you know, like all the 6-inch figures from Hasbro. I mean, vintage collection maybe has the best neck articulation. The arms can go way over 90 degrees, way over the T-pose, you know. He can turn all the way around, but I wouldn't recommend forcing this piece here. Yeah, just be careful. The elbows can bend way over 90 degrees, which is great to have. The hands have both horizontal, vertical swivels, I mean, the good ones for weapon wielding, and can turn all the way around. The diaphragm feels a bit delicate in this mold. Also with the Return of the Jedi Boba Fett, I remember almost breaking that guy. But hey, you can bend backwards a little bit less forward, but still just a little bit. That's neutral. You have a bit of tilt to the sides, of course, and if you want to turn around, I would be careful. I wouldn't just turn, I would do more like circular movements towards the side you want to turn the figure, because the peg feels a bit like flimsy. That's a minus for the figure, but only that, I would say. The hips can do a nice amount of splits. Yeah, you can also kick forward, you can kick forward that far. I mean, again, it's a bit of a weird system with these hips. Backwards, not really, because of the shape of the rear there. And you have the thigh cut for adjustments. Of course, you will need it with these hips. You have the single jointed knee that can go slightly over 90 backwards, and the feet can go backwards all the way. They can go forward much less, but a little bit, I mean a decent amount, you know. And they have a beautiful ankle rocker, especially in this going the side that you will actually use. Like this, it will look weird, yeah, but it's still, I mean, a very nicely achieved ankle rocker for the scale, you know. And there you have the vintage collection, the Empire Strikes Back Boba Fett comic art version, whatever, next to some troop builders and a Cobra Commander, and next to Ahsoka Tano, Din Djarin, a lot of other versions of Boba Fett, Shea Vizsla, Grogu, and of course Darth Vader. And yeah, I mean, this little figure was a surprise for me. I got it just because, you know, the Boba Fett FOMO or whatever, but I actually really like having this version with all those wonky, super bright colors. super saturated and all of that. It's a nice version to have, and again, you can just think of it even if it's the very same Boba Fett mold. The colors make him like another character if you want to have it in the display and give no explanations, you know. Just another Mandalorian figure, you know. I do recommend it, of course, if you want to wait and see if you get a better price. I totally understand. I would do it myself. I mean, that's what I do with a lot of figures. I don't always review things first, you know, but yeah, you know, and the money it's important to keep your money, you know, as much as you can. Please leave a like, share, subscribe, and all of that good stuff. Take care, and I will see you in the next one. Ciao, ciao, ciao.